WoW is a fantasy-themed MMORPG, though set in the world of Azeroth. It is a theme park MMO with a vertical progression, which means that you have to complete and do certain content to actually move on to other content. It doesn't have the same type of freedom as like a sandbox or horizontal progression MMO. WoW also has tab targeting, cooldown based combat, and all of the classes do have a ton of their abilities at their disposal. Some classes have more, some classes have less. It just depends on the class that you choose. Now, the level cap at the moment for the game is level 60. 1 to 10 is done on a brand new tutorial island that came out with Shadowlands called Exile's Reach, which does a really good job introducing new players to the game. From 10 to 50, new players will play through the previous expansion storyline, Battle for Azeroth, to help segue them into the Shadowlands story that plays out from 50 to 60. However, returning players or alts can play through any previous expansion they want from level 10 to 50, allowing them to level through their expansion of choice. Now, WoW has 12 different classes, with each class having 3 specs, or known as, you can basically look at them as like subclasses, and you can choose from 3 of them, although there's one class that has 4, and another with 2, but most classes have 3. Now, while the classes are not gender locked, only certain races can play certain classes for lore-specific reasons. And speaking of which, the game has 24 races split into 2 factions, the Alliance and the Horde, who at the time are not really able to interact with each other outside of fighting in PvP. Now, fighting each other, that is, in PvP. Now, each faction has 7 races that you can...
If you enjoy the video, do leave a like on it. Guys, people who are watching that already play RuneScape 3, definitely leave a like on this video, as if we can reach more people as well, then happy days. We'd love to get more people playing our game. Also, do leave any comments down below if you have any questions at all, guys. People who are considering playing, if you have any questions whatsoever, then leave some questions down below. Leading straight off of player count into this, I actually wanted to mention as well that this game is available on PC, and it's also available. It's very important for me to explain that the combat in RuneScape 3 is not like most MMOs. You will not be picking out a specific class to play. You will not be picking, say, a mage, or you will not be picking like a ranger, or you won't be picking like a warrior. It will literally just be one character can play all styles, and you can change mid-combat if you wanted to. A lot of bosses, you will not need to do this. However, sometimes you will want to. So in the early game, you can expect to have the tutorial given to you straight away at the beginning. I recommend that you play this, as it will teach you a lot about the game, and it's going to be very, very important for you to not sort of just think, right, what the hell do I do now? Because once you've done the tutorial and you've done a few starting tasks, the game literally lets go of your hand and says, go and have fun. So this game is something where you usually would set your own goals, you would do your own playstyle, and you would literally focus on doing whatever you want to do personally in the game itself. So it does let go of your hand fairly early, and it does have quite a big sort of learning curve to get into it. But early game, you can expect to do quite a lot of early questing, which are, let me tell you, the quests in RuneScape 3 are not like your normal MMO quests.
Albion Online is a sandbox MMORPG game with full loot PvP, player-driven economy, and much more. And I've been playing this game for the past 4 years, and I played the last 2 betas when the game wasn't even released. And then of course I played on the launch. And overall I would say that between 3 of my accounts I have more than 2,000 hours played. So with that said, today we will look into the character customization, solo and group PvP/PvE content, then what is Albion all about, and then I will give you an actual perspective from an old player that's been playing this game casually for many years. And then at the end I will give you my conclusions and tell you the pros and cons of the game, and if Albion Online is worth playing. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. As this game has no class system, any player can use every single piece of item if they just level that gear up. And before we go into all the weapons and builds, you first of all have to understand on how leveling works in Albion. So first of all, there aren't any character levels, and experience is called fame. So from now on, when I tell you fame this or fame that, remember to keep in your head that fame equals experience. Now let's take a closer look at the player-driven economy. So you can gather in this game 5 materials, and the 6th one is fishing. You can gather fiber and turn it into cloth, which is used to craft cloth armor. Then you can mine ore and turn it into bars, and then craft weapons or plate armor. And the same things repeat for skinning, wood gathering or lumberjacking, and lastly we have the stone courier, which is the...
Are you contemplating taking the plunge into the world of Eorzea? Maybe you're a long-time Final Fantasy fan, or you're completely new to the franchise and you're looking for a new MMORPG to experience. The number one question I'm asked while streaming is, should I play Final Fantasy XIV? Is this game any good? So I decided to make a video that gives you an idea of what Final Fantasy XIV is about and how to start your journey. Here are some examples of why you should consider playing Final Fantasy XIV. Players more often than not are extremely welcoming and will go out of their way to answer any questions and guide you along the path to success in the game. This is good and bad. The game definitely doesn't throw you into the fray right away and gives you ample time to get used to the playstyle and become acquainted with the world of Eorzea. However, some players view this as a very slow start compared to other MMOs, but hopefully the condensing of the main scenario questline will balance things out accordingly. Final Fantasy in general has always been noted for their beautiful cinematography, character designs, landscapes, and captivating music. Despite its age, Final Fantasy XIV is still one of the most visually pleasing MMOs on the market, and content additions will always leave you amazed at its beauty. The release of Shadowbringers in 2019 brought a lot of attention and immense praise to the gameplay and storytelling in particular. The game itself has won countless awards over the years, but I believe Shadowbringers really made an impact in the MMORPG world, and since then has been a rapidly growing community. This is a huge perk to the game and something I believe future MMO...
In the crazy genre of MMORPGs, there is a few big dogs that have blown up in terms of popularity. Obviously, World of Warcraft has stood the test of time, being incredibly popular since its initial launch back in 2004. RuneScape is another titan in the genre, being arguably the most popular free-to-play MMO on the market. Others like Final Fantasy XIV and Guild Wars 2 have also tasted massive success over their years, with Final Fantasy particularly blowing up on a massive scale. Black Desert Online is debatably one of those titans, releasing onto the scene in Korea in 2015 and eventually hitting our shores in 2016. The game is relatively young, but it's starting to be considered one of the biggest titles in the genre, pulling as much as 30 million players as of September 2020, with the title grossing over $1.7 billion worldwide. Definitely not small numbers. The game is also on just about every platform, and as of last year now supports cross-play, except for the mobile version, because, you know, whatever.
Do you guys not have phones? Yeah, you guys
Making the community massive and allowing various ways to play the game besides just a gaming PC. The game is buy to play, only costing an upfront cost of $10 and even being included with the Xbox Game Pass. However, all of that is subject to change since Pearl Abyss, the initial company behind the game, is taking control back from the Cacao Games in the West, which is an overall net positive for the player base since the company who developed the game will now fully own the game again, essentially making it a great time to jump in, and with the content roadmap being revealed for 2021, the game is set to be supported for a long time.